In 2024, credit cards will pretty much become the standard payment system around the world. Many companies have started issuing their own credit cards. Many people own more than one credit or debit card, and it is really not unusual for someone to only carry around these cards and no cash whatsoever. Now, there is a few reasons why this has become the case, and some are more legitimate than others. Like in certain circumstances, it's faster to use a credit card than cash. But the biggest misconception about credit card is that they are more secure, and the reason that people believe this is because they actually are more secure against a very specific kind of attack like mugging. So before, credit cards like attacking and robbing someone in a public place were obviously a lot more common, and many people think that credit cards are actually the reason for the decline, because obviously you will just cancel a credit card soon after you've been mugged, which means that the mugger is committing a felonious assault only to get no money. So what's the point in doing that? There is many factors as to why muggings have decreased, and really why violent crimes in general has gone down since the 1990s. But I really don't think that credit cards have that much to do with it, because the amount of money that's been stolen from people since the invention of the credit cards really hasn't gone down. It's actually gone up. So now, instead of people all over the world getting mugged for maybe $1 total in the tens of millions every single year, credit card fraud is now responsible for the loss of over $20 billion every year. And this is because it's so much easier to do, much easier to get away with, and way more money can actually be made doing it on average than just mugging people. In fact, it's possible to do this completely from the comfort of your own home. Now, obviously, I don't condone doing illegal things, because it is illegal and you're also stealing money from people, so it's morally wrong. But to start, all you really have to do is buy stolen credit card information off of the dark web with anonymously obtained Bitcoin, and that way any purchases that you make with these two things really can't be traced back to you. And there are so many sites that are selling stolen credit card data out there on the dark web. It's pretty easy to find. In fact, if you've been browsing around on online sites before, you have probably seen ads for these services. They usually offer several different options to you, like buying the raw data, which might just be a CDV with different people's name, card numbers, expirations, and pins that are written into the different columns. Or they might sell cards that they cloned and embossed themselves, so that's just going to be a copy of the original card that's made to look legit, where you can go to use it in a store. So instead of the classic going to Walmart with a stolen credit card and buying a couple of expensive electronics and then selling them on eBay, they are not going to do what most people do. Instead, this fraudster is going to buy something digital that they can easily send online, maybe a Google Play card. Well, not a physical Google Play card, obviously just the code on the back that you redeem, Xbox Live subscription, or again the code on the back of maybe an NFT, so on and so forth. And then they're going to sell that to someone else online, and boom, they made a profit with credit card fraud, and they never even had to leave the computer. And digitally speaking, this is really difficult to trace as long as the fraudster actually practices well with their legal online activities. You can go look up how credit card fraudsters have been caught in the past. Usually it's from making really dumb mistakes. There is no CCTV footage of them. There is no description that the victim can give, because the credit card details were most likely stolen by either a credit card scammer, or maybe a database breach of some company that was storing their credit card details, or maybe some random waiter in a completely different state from where the actual fraud took place. So yeah, since credit card fraud is such a big industry and so easy to do, how can you prevent yourself from becoming a victim of it and getting your money stolen? Well, depending on the laws where you live in, and you know what kind of credit card company you're using, whatever the policy is, you might actually have several months to report fraud and have no financial liability for it. I think in the US the legal limit is 2 months, something like that. It goes. Here is where the longer you wait, the more you're responsible for it. But obviously, if you are within the range of having no liability, then the credit card company is going to take the entire hit. Now, of course, debit cards are a whole different story, because that's your own money and your bank that's at the risk. And you will most likely notice if somebody buys like $2,000 in iTunes gift card. In fact, these big charges out of nowhere we oftentimes just get the credit card flagged automatically. But many credit card fraudsters, they've caught on to this, and instead of just making one big purchase and essentially burning the card, they are starting to buy monthly subscription that will run 20, 30, maybe $40 a month over and over again on that card, and they can easily fly under the radar because you have to understand the way that these cards are getting stolen. It's not someone is mugging them and taking their purse and giving a credit card. People go on and they continue using their credit card, having no idea that the number has been leaked and sold to someone on the dark web. So you can go on and spend maybe $20, $30, $40, maybe even more if this is someone who is spending lots of money every month on their credit card, and they just won't notice. Like, you can imagine if this is someone's dad who's paying for maybe 3 of the Netflix subscription, they probably won't notice one more. Or if they are paying for 5 phones bills every month, they are not going to notice if another one automatically all of a sudden comes up. And then of course the fraudster could sell those accounts to people and turn a profit. Since all of the investment was made using a stolen credit card, they might even just be able to sell access to the account. In the case of a Netflix account, because I think you can have like 3 to 5 people accessing those, so I guess as long as they can trust them to not steal the passwords, they can make extra money that way. So the only real way to be safe from this kind of fraud is to be really vigilant with your card, because it really isn't a matter of if fraud will happen, but when. Even if you have one of those resistant wallets that are becoming more popular this day, your card can still get scammed at a gas pump or by a waiter or by a cashier if they take your card to swipe it. So really the best thing to do is to just be really tactical about your credit card. Try to use them for something like your recurring bills, or maybe for making a couple of large purchases, as long as the card doesn't go out of your sight when making those purchases. That way you can take advantage of cashback or other rewards that your card might offer, but you're not going to end up with a bunch of random purchases, and there's also less likelihood for it to get skimmed. So if there is fewer purchases, that's going to make your bill much easier to audit. It's also going to make it much more consistent, which not only helps in detecting fraudulent transactions but also helps keeps the balance in check. Also, keep in mind that credit card fraud is often just the first step in identity theft, which is a much bigger problem because there's lots more personal info that's tied to a credit card than you might think. So even if you report fraud the same exact day, it happens to be completely off the hook financially, it could come back to haunt you later if your identity gets stolen. So the best bet to protect that, besides just not exposing yourself with credit card used in the first place, is to get identity theft insurance to mitigate damage from that credit card fraud. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Ladell Business.